Do you want to improve at a quicker pace? Check out GITGUDRacing.com.
Don't drop the throttle to 0. Don't drop it to 0. Nice. Keep holding throttle. Okay, good. Open up. Hold the throttle. Go wide, go wide, go wide, go wide. Yes, dude. That's it.
I've coached hundreds of drivers, from real-life racers to sim enthusiasts, who experience rapid improvement after just one session. And while investing in top-notch hardware is great, imagine how much more you can elevate your experience by adding coaching to the mix. My methods are practical, aiming to break down complex concepts into easily digestible bits that are simple to understand. You can find reviews of the sessions I've conducted on the Fiverr link provided in the video description. Let's elevate your racing skills together. Now for the track guide. For turn 1, it's a quite difficult corner. You have to align it before you arrive at the corner. So you want to take here the shortest path to the corner by getting closer to this curb on the left side. Now, the common mistake is to align with the white line from this point onward. So to bring the car to the right side and then just follow the white line. It's gonna be a bit inefficient to do it this way. You will travel a longer distance. So the goal will be to go on the right side as late as possible and instead align yourself with the king that will appear after the 100-meter board or around the 100-meter board, because the road goes like this and then it will be a part in which if you follow the white line, you won't be aligned with the white line because the road is gonna be a bit to the right. So let's see what I'm talking about. Around here, you see, there's a bit of kink in this part. So if you want to min-max everything in terms of lap time and distance covered, you will go to the right side as late as you can. In my case, I go a bit early to the right side. I'm not that concerned about it. But if you want to take the most amount of lap time and squeeze the lap as much as you can, you will just stay a bit more facing forwards and then you will align yourself with the king. But anyways, the main idea is to not align yourself with the white line from far behind, because that's gonna be a huge loss in lap time. I think it's gonna be a tenth or so just by not getting the shorter line, which is a lot of time considering that you don't have to do any driving technique to get it or lose it. So nice and late, go and align yourself with the king. And what I'm looking now is this exit road on the right side and the 100-meter board, because the 100-meter board is gonna be my reference for braking. Just slightly past it, I'm applying the brakes around here. But since everything happens quickly in this corner and it's best to have a lot of references as you can, especially considering that now you're steering a bit more to the left to be positioned in a way that you're using all the track, I recommend you, whenever you're getting by this exit road, to look at it and acknowledge its position, and soon afterwards look just a slightly bit on the 100, but don't keep focusing too much on the 100, and again change your vision to the corner, to the apex around here. So braking after the 100, aligning myself so that I'm almost hitting the grass on the entry is very important to open up. And now for the braking, you don't want to brake very hard here. If you're gonna brake very late, very hard, you will overheat the tires and the balance of the car won't be that great. So instead, brake a bit earlier than you think, don't peak very high, aim to cut this curb, cut as much as you can while you go into this chicane, and immediately after put the power down at the curb. Super important that you'll be back on power whenever you hit the curb, meaning around here. I'm already back on power. Again, cutting this curb as much as you can and using all the track here. You don't want to over prepare the next corner, since with this car it's gonna be enough if you just take it a sharp left. From here you won't have to lift, so it's still a flat out by cutting this curb, and eventually you will use this exit. So don't over prepare the previous corner, get a wide exit, get the speed rolling in. And now for the next chicane, this is not very easy. So again, I'm looking at the 50-meter board, but I'm just glancing at it, and then my focus is back on the apex. You don't want to be stuck by looking in these types of corners where the reference is on the other side of the track. You don't want to get stuck into looking on the other side while you turn to the opposite side. That's not the best idea, right? So just glancing at the 50, and after the 50, quite important, I'm applying the brakes after I turn in. So not before. You don't want to brake in a straight line. You want to brake while you're already turning. So you want to carry the speed into this corner. The challenge in this particular corner is to carry as much speed as you can. It's not braking late and hard. It's arriving at the corner with more speed. Because you can brake very late, but you brake harder, and in the end at the corner you will have less speed. You still want to brake late. You want to turn in to use the downforce of the car to give you a bit more grip into the corner, but barely feathering the brakes here, so 20% braking, just to make the car point. The whole idea of this corner is to turn the car with the brakes, not to slow the car down. So turning the car with the brakes, cutting as much as we can from this curve. So at the exit here, I'm almost aligned with the white line. And now when I'm at this point, it's important to still hold the brakes here, because the next chicane, this is actually the place in which you want to use the brakes to slow the car down, because this is quite a narrow angle, and you won't be able to carry a lot of speed into this corner. In this one you can carry a lot, but in this one you can't. So what I'm doing, I'm holding the brakes, and look now, I'm reapplying a bit more of the brakes. So I'm trail braking after the first left-hander, but now reapplying this pressure while I was still going slightly more straight, let's say, with the steering angle, and then trailing to this one. And as soon as you get to it, put the power down. You can use all this exit curve without getting an off track. The off track is gonna be if you will touch with the right tires the red part of the curve. Now repositioning, and for this corner, my reference for braking is the end of this exit road. So the moment I'm going past the exit road, I'm applying the brakes. Because of the fact that this corner is cambered, the grip levels are gonna change dramatically while you go into this corner. So you will have some grip at this point. Now you will have less and less around here. So whenever you're trailing, you feel like you're losing the car. Now you get a bit of grip here in the compression, but when you go upwards around here, you're losing again the grip. So the grip levels are changing very quickly in this part of the track, and your inputs should reflect this change of grip changing. So you want to induce some understeer whenever you're braking initially and arriving to this corner, so the car won't snap. And you can induce that understeer by dropping the brakes. So you see there's a slight drop in my brake shape here, but then I'm reapplying it the moment that I'm gaining a bit of the grip back, and then dropping it the moment that the car is still sliding. So with the brakes, you will control the rotation and you will induce either understeer or oversteer. Same with the throttle here. Whenever you feel like the car is sliding, you have to induce a bit of understeer by modulating the throttle. And this is what's happening here with me, modulating, going up. And right now, when I feel like I have all the grip that I need, then it's 100% throttle, using all the exits. Very important to use here all the exit, of course. And for the fast left-hander here, 50-meter board as a reference, but I will always brake after the 50. And quite important, there's a bit of exit road here. I mean, it's not an exit road, it's just a bit of space in between the white line and the green part of the track, the grass. Use it. So put the tire onto the space. It will open up this corner just a bit more, so you can carry that one extra kph into the corner. After the 50, I'm braking, and in this corner you can argue that maybe it's a bit more efficient to do the same thing that we did in the second chicane, meaning that we first turn and then brake. And I think that's going to be a better approach. I think this was a bit of a mistake, so as you can see, I'm braking on a straight line. I think you just need to add 2-3 frames in which you're going left and then applying the brakes. So let me see my corner. So it wasn't bad, but I think I can gain a bit more on entry. In terms of the approach and the apex, you want to aim at the curb on the left, but it depends also on the setup. I was using the fixed setup here. So with the fixed, I didn't like going over the curb, but with other setups, you might be able to just hook this curb up, so put your tire to the grass, and maybe the car balance will be fine into the exit. But the most safest way to take this corner is to apex around the beginning of the curb, so you can touch just the beginning part of the curb and the white line, and then put the power down immediately. In terms of braking, again, you don't want to brake hard initially, or you can brake hard and later, but recently in my driving style I found that braking still not very early, but not exactly as late as I was braking before, and peaking a bit earlier, trailing a bit longer, is giving me more consistency, better lap times, and also I feel more in control with the car. So in a way, I think that it's a better tire management from my part, a better management of the tire temps, and I will emphasize this in these track guides, in the new track guides that I'm gonna be doing, because 2 months ago I wasn't driving like this, now I'm driving like this and I find some advantages, so obviously I will try to explain whenever I'm doing it. Now, going into Acqua Minerale, quite difficult corner, so it can easily be make or break lap. For me, this is quite consistent because I'm using always quite nice references. So first of all, I want to open up this corner by using this part of the track. This, I don't know what it is here, it looks like a drain. So to the left side of the white line you have a bit of space, use it, so put the tire and align yourself with the grass. Now I'm looking at the 50 because I want to turn after the 50, and I'm just glancing at the 50. I know that I'm at the 50, so slightly afterwards, or right here after the 50, I will begin to turn in the car. So right here, I'm beginning to turn, and this curb on the right side, I want to brake when I'm very close near the curb. I don't want to brake when I'm on a straight line. I don't want to brake when I'm in the middle of the distance between where I was in a straight line and before turning in to the curb. I want to brake as close as I can to this curb. So carrying a lot of speed on entry is gonna help you obviously to gain time on entry, but most importantly, you will have more downforce going into this corner. So the car is gonna have an advantage in terms of grip if you will carry more speed. So the challenge in this corner is to keep the downforce levels higher. The higher you will be able to keep the downforce levels, the more the car will turn. You will reach a point in which if you go way too fast, the downforce can't save you, but still the common mistake here is slamming the brakes and braking way too hard. So you can compare versus your telemetry. I'm braking here with 18% and now I'm braking to 14%. So this is a very slight touch in the brake. It's a very slight touch in the brake. It's not like you're wanting to slow the car down. I'm preparing it for this corner, so I'm carrying the downforce, because in the next corner, in this one on the right side, you can brake a bit more for that corner because you have this straight line part around here. So this is the main idea. I just want to make the car turn, and then when I'm arriving at this part, now I'm increasing the pressure, because you also go into a bit of a compression right here. You have more grip. You have this window in which you can brake harder because of this straight line. So right now I'm peaking to 28 or something, and I'm using this curve on the left side to open up. Super important to align yourself with the grass here before the turn in. So your brake shape should be something like this. Brake a bit softer initially, then pump the brake pressure up and up and up while you're here, and then trail and lower it again while you turn in, and you apex around this black and orange curb, putting the power down very early at the curb, and now using all this track like this, it won't be an off track. Quite a nice corner. Now for the next chicane, this chicane I don't like it at all. This chicane is not very fast for me usually. I have here an approach, it might not be the faster one. So my approach here is carry as much speed as I can into the chicane, cut as much as I can on the first curb, and then roll the speed forwards. I'm not picking very high, keep the tire temps in check, and I will put the power down a bit later. So this is the approach here. Now, the other approach would be brake a bit earlier and a bit harder initially, carry less speed on entry, but put the power down earlier on exit. It depends. Both approaches can give you the same lap time. It depends. I would say though that this approach that you're gonna see, it's not the very best. So I feel like putting the power down earlier, it's gonna be better in this corner. However, this is how I do it. I'm braking very close to the 50, but I'm not picking very high. So I'm picking around 40, 45, hold it, downshifting to third, and now I want to cut as much as I can. So to make the car rotate in this part, I'm releasing the brakes to have more grip, because if you're gonna hold the brakes too much, the fronts are just gonna die instantly. So releasing the brakes, and now at this point, I'm using the brakes to make the car rotate even more in the lower percentages. So now the car is gonna rotate a lot more. I'm cutting as much as I can, and I'm still holding the brakes. 1% trail brake, 2% trail brake, 1% again, 2%, 1%, 2%, 1, and then I put the power down. So I'm trailing a lot, even though this seems like a flat line. I was trailing to 1-2 percentages, and then I'm putting here the power down. It's a bit late, I would say. So try to mess with the line, with the approaches. However, whenever I put the power down, it's a damn straight line almost, so it wasn't that bad, I would say. I would try though the other approach. Now, going into the last corner, this is where I do a big mistake in the lap. I think I lost here 2 or 3 tenths. Maybe not 3 tenths, but 2 tenths for sure. So I'm using the 50-meter board as a reference for braking. I want to brake slightly before it, but this was way too early. So brake a bit earlier than that. This was way too late, I'm sorry. So braking like this was way too late. Brake a bit earlier. Still looking at the 50, but braking a bit earlier, and brake harder. So I brake to 65. I'm not gonna make this corner with this amount of braking and braking this late. So what you want to aim is this curb right here, the green part. You want to hook your tire into it. I miss it completely at this point. I was struggling to just not get the off track on the exit because this was already, I was carrying way too much speed. So hook the car nice and late on this apex, on this curb. Now you will put the power at this time. You will have already close to 100% throttle. If you will brake earlier, in my case it was impossible. Using all this curb, also I get pushed in this weird angle, and now I have to reposition. And for the last corner, almost at the beginning of the curb, you will turn first, drop the throttle, so you will carry the down first, add a bit of trail brake, aim at this green part of the curb, and put the power down. Decent lap, but I think half a second is for sure possible with more practice and no mistakes. However, this was the track guide. I hope you liked it, I hope you enjoyed, I hope you will do well in this week. Bye bye.